The question here is there anything to choose from? And let me take that question to Mr. Suhel Seth. Is there really anything to choose from amongst political parties, especially when it comes to the kind of language that they choose? But that's one part of the story. The other part of the story is how seriously are elections being fought? You know, somebody calls Narendra Modi Ravan because he can be seen in every election. Is being sincere and being hardworking and taking every election seriously now going to be held against people like Mr. Modi, who do take it very seriously?
You know, I've just heard Sanjay Jha and Guru Prakash. There's no competition in being abusive. I mean, you know, to compete, saying that you said this and I said this. I mean, this is the worst form of whataboutery ever. I have only two comments to offer. Number one, Narendra Modi is no longer Narendra Modi. He's the Prime Minister of India. When you abuse Narendra Modi, willy-nilly, you abuse the office of the Prime Minister of this country. He's not my Prime Minister alone. He's not Tehseen's Prime Minister. He's the Prime Minister of the Republic of India who was elected. He didn't sneak in through the back door. He didn't, manage an election. So that's number one. Number two, everyone here is guilty. Guilty of abuse. You know, when you don't have real issues, you then resort to pettiness. And what we are seeing today in our electoral politics is the worst form of pettiness. This is behavior that doesn't behove anyone. To abuse the Prime Minister during an election campaign, to say whatever you want and then say, but he said this, it doesn't hold. Then you're as equally responsible as anyone else. Who holds the moral high ground, tell me, in this country as far as abuse is concerned? Everyone is party to this. And I'm afraid to say that the Prime Minister himself should now divorce himself from this level of abuse because it doesn't behove the office. This is not the way elections are won. People don't elect people because they can abuse gallantly. People elect people because they can provide development. To constantly change the narrative, to constantly get into an abusive mode holds nothing. I mean, it actually alienates from the purposes of development that politics and politicians are meant for. A, B, what face do these so-called mature leaders show to the rest of the country? There are young people. We keep talking about the youth of our country. Is this what you want them to grow up with? Is this how you want them to determine opposition? Is this how you want them to compete? Compete on the grounds of abuse rather than on the grounds of development? Abuse rather than competence? Abuse rather than capability? I mean, I feel this is abhorrent. I want to take one last point, Navika, that you raised about religion. Sanjay Jha rightly mentioned that religion is a personal element. I have been against public showing of religious offerings all my life. And I've said people who do temple runs, mosque runs, church runs should do it in their private time. When you do it around election time, it is clear. Look, the people are not foolish. You know, it's not that you're talking to a stupid electorate in India. You don't think people understand why people are going to temples all of a sudden, why they're prostrating before a certain god or a certain goddess? People recognize that. What you do is you insult people's intelligence when you keep doing this repeatedly only around election time. I think the Election Commission needs to do three things. Number one, it needs to take cognizance of people who use abuse in their election speeches far more seriously. In fact, I'm saying you suspend those people from even taking part in election campaigns.
These suggestions have been given many times in the past and they've not led us anywhere, Suhel said. You know, I'm also a little cynical about these suggestions to election commissions because nothing happens. Nobody falls in line because the election commission at best can stop you from campaigning for 24 hours and towards the end of campaigning, frankly, it makes no difference to anybody's life.
So what is the solution? You tell me. You're a mature journalist. You tell me what is the solution. Should we continue with this circus of abuse, this circus of religious intolerance, this circus of complete mayhem and manipulation? Do we as an electorate, as a democracy, continue with this abuse of social and moral intelligence? What is your solution?